Okay, today we are going to have these sharings of how are we learning for the futures? Are we learning for the futures? So a little bit of an introduction about myself. I'm Dr. Chance, right? I'm now actually serving in Li Guangqian Faculty Engineering and Science under Department of Mechanicals and Manufacturing Engineering. At the same time, I also the head of the Center for Curriculum Developments and Innovations. Right? In short, we call it as a CCDI. It's a new established center since 2020. Okay, so the main function actually to design the curriculum for the whole universities, actually to prepare all the students and also together with all the lecturers for the futures, right? For the better preparations, right? Future-proof kind of the curriculum designs, and also embedded some of the innovations factors inside. Right? Okay. So thank you very much again. So without further ado, let me start my presentation today. So if you have any questions, right? I think the organizer actually mute all of the participants, right? Then it's fine. No worry. You still can use the meeting chat, okay, to post your questions. Okay, I will go through it from time to time. I also have received some of the questions when you are actually registering through the Google Forms. Thank you very much for your questions. So now let me start the sharings. Okay, I hope that we can have a very fruitful sections together with you. So now the questions that we want to ask ourselves, of course, are we learning for the futures? But the futures, F-U-T-U-R-E, the future itself, are we referring to the near future or very far futures? What I mean here is it a 5 years times or 10 years times or 20 years times? What the futures that we are looking forward? So let us see these photos. I believe that some of you have seen this before in any kind of the social medias. Okay. In the previous times, our parents, but especially moms, most of the times, okay, don't sit too close to the TV, it's bad for your eyes. But 20 years later, which is now, I mean, it's already happened, I think, for the past 5 years and past 10 years ago, already happens with these VR gadgets. Okay, we put the TV just in front of our eyes. Okay, we consider as a zero gaps. Okay, it's totally upside down is what we have think of, right? Don't so close to the TV, don't so close to the computer monitors, it's bad for your eyes, right? Now it's totally different. So the question now back is, are we preparing ourselves for the future, and what future that we're referring? Is it 2025, 2030? We have passed our 2020 visions. Now it's moving forward to 2030, or actually we are referring to 2050. It's 30 years later. For today's sharings, I would like to use this so-called golden circle that actually introduced by Simon Sinek, which is a very famous TED Talk speaker. Okay, so in these golden circles, right, this basically is the outline of my presentation today. Right, we will start from the inner circle. Right, we will start from, you can see there is 3 circles there: the why, how, and what. Okay, so we will start from the why. Because what Simon Sinek always says, start with the why. Start with asking the why first before you can start to do anything, right? So now the question is, why do we need to learn for the futures? What is the purpose? What is your intention for the learnings? Okay, why? So throughout this 1.5 hour sharing, I hope that you have some thoughts, right, in your minds, and also maybe you can start to think, why do I need to learn? Okay, what it means by learning for the futures, right? So then after discover your why, right? Find out what is your why. Then after we'll move to the next step, the how. Okay, how do you going to learn, right, to achieve your why? So you have to start from the why. Only you can know what are the ways that actually to learn. Right? For example, right? In the previous times. Of course, not during this CMCO, RMCO, and MCO times. I think when you're planning for your vacations, I believe that definitely you will think, what is the purpose of this vacation this time? Okay, is it for relaxing, right? Is it for shopping? Is it for adventures? Okay, or is because of family times, right? What is the purpose of the vacations? So after you identify the purpose, right, you find out what is the purpose of your vacations, then actually you will only know where you want to go. For example, if you are planning for shopping, right, for those stay away from the Klang Valley, definitely you say, oh, I will go KL to shop. Or if allowed, then if you can go overseas, then definitely we'll go to Japan, Korea, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and etc. to shopping, right? All these are the shopping paradise, right? So you have to know what is your purpose for your vacations. If you're saying that I just want to relax, maybe you can just go to the beach for vacations. Or if you really want to have the adventures, maybe you can go for those national, the Taman Negaras, and also you can go to hiking. Okay, so this is more on the adventures. So first thing first, you need to know why do you need to learn. Okay, then only you know to know where you are going, and also you can decide what kind of mode of the transport that you can plan. For example, you are planning to go driving by yourself, or you have to book an air ticket, or you can go for the cruise, okay, or by train or by coach. Okay, so this is the how. Then lastly, only we identify what are the things that we need to learn. What are you going to learn is actually to be consistent, to show you why you need to learn. Okay, so what are you to learn is the last part, because if you cannot know why you need to learn, whatever you learn now might not need to fulfill your desire, your purpose. Okay, so now we come back to the first questions. Why do we need to learn for the futures? I think in the poster, I also have write out some synopsis for the presentations of today. Okay, so I think this one is a very famous reports that I think most of the industry, including the governments or private sector, they also will refer this, the WEF, World Economic Forum's reports, right? So if you are interested, you can scan the QR code there. Okay, you can scan the QR code, then you will get the PDF. The report itself consists of about 160 plus pages, right? It's very informative, a lot of predictions, a lot of survey that they conducted from various kind of industry and also for various kind of sectors. Okay, so then they reported the future of job, right, in October 2020. So what actually the report saying? Right, of course, I will not go through 163 pages within this 1.5 hours. Okay, so I just want to raise up these three statements over here. First, the World Economic Forums mentioned the rise of machines and also the automations would eliminate 85 million jobs by 2025. 2025 is very close to us, right? For your information. Now we are already in the second quarters of 2021 already. So it's less than 4 years times, right? 2025 already approaching us. So there will be 85 millions of jobs will be eliminated. Okay, it's a scary numbers, right? But look at the positive side. Nevertheless, at the same time, the WEF expects there are 97 million new jobs to be created. Wow. Okay, simple mathematics, 97 more than 85. So 97 minus 85, what we have? Meaning there's overall addition of 12 millions of jobs will be created. Okay, so a bit of relief, right? So just now it's 85 millions will disappear. Now we have 97 of jobs. So there's more than enough. Okay, but the question is, are you ready for those new 97 millions of jobs? When you say new, if definitely it's not yet exist at the moment, right? So are you preparing yourself for these 97 millions of jobs? So here, the last statements over here is saying that it stresses the needs for reskilling and upskilling from employers to ensure the staff are sufficiently equipped for the future of work. Okay, so the reskilling and upskilling is a key part, right? This could be your why. Why do you need to learn? Okay, for the future, right? How actually you ensure that you are ready, right? Future proof for these 97 million new jobs. Okay, So this is the predictions, what will happen in the next coming 4 years. So in these reports, of course, because there is 85 millions of jobs will disappear and another 97 of jobs will be created. So now the next one, in this report, they also list down what are the top 20 jobs which are increasing demands. And on the other side, on your right hand side, you will see the decreasing demands jobs. Okay. So yeah, of course, right. I know that the wording is very small, but thanks to Zooms, I think you can make use of the Zoom function. You can zoom in, zoom out, right, to see the wordings, right? So don't spoil your eyes, okay? So you can look into. Let's see what actually the top 10 increasing demand job. For example, we have the data analysts, and also scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, big data specialists, digital marketing and strategy specialist, process automation specialist, business development professional, digital transformation specialist, information security analysis, software and application developers, Internet of Things specialists. Okay, so you'll notice that all actually are related to so-called the big words, IR 4.0, the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Okay, so this is the big words that we hear this right since few years back. So all this actually I already shown here. What are the future words in the next 4 years? All right, so you see all are related to the big data, IoT, automations, machines. So that's why just now why the 85 million jobs will disappear, because of the immerse of this machine and also the automations. Okay, so that's why there are the jobs actually were going to disappear. So what are the jobs that were going to disappear? You can see on the right hand side list, there are the data entry clerks, administrative and executive secretaries, accounting, bookkeeping and payroll clerks, accountants and auditors, assembly and factory workers, business service and administrations managers, client information and customer service workers, general and operations managers, mechanics and machinery repairers, material recordings and stock keeping clerks. So these are the top 10 jobs that decreasing the demands. Okay, slowly this job will be eliminated. So do you can see what is the most obvious difference between the increasing demand jobs and also the decreasing demand job? Can you see the difference? Again, some of you maybe can already observe that. Yes, you are right. So for the decreasing demand, you will notice that it basically are those routine jobs. Okay, so means that every day you are doing the same thing. It's quite routines. So while on the other side, for the increasing demands one is more towards non-routine jobs, right? You need to think, right, more to solve the problem, solve the real problems, right? How actually to making the process be more efficient, cost savings. So all are the things that with increasing demands. So you know, right? Roughly you know now why you need to learn now. Okay, so what are the things that you could learn so that to fulfill your why, right? So this is the increasing demand jobs and also the decreasing demand jobs, right? Please pay attention on this. Okay, next, I would like to ask the questions now. How often do people change jobs during a lifetime? Okay, what it means by these questions? This question actually asking, for example, okay, I can disclose my age. Now I'm 41 years old. So maybe I plan to retire by 60. So I have about 20 years to go. Utah is my first job, right? Until now, since 2010, end of November of 2010, so it's about 10 years, yes. So what is the next 20 years that what I'm going to do, right? What is the next 20 years? Am I going to change jobs? How many jobs I am going to change? So if you estimate normal graduates from high school or from university is about 20 years old, then work until 60 years old. So it's about 40 years of working life. So within these 40 years, how many jobs do you think that a person will change? Okay, a person will change. Is it 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 5 jobs, or 10? Okay, so let me hear from you. So I would like you to scan these QR codes. Okay, please scan the QR code, or you can join this Slido. Okay, please join the Slido. You join the slido.com, then key in the code 408250, or you can use your smartphone to scan the QR codes. All right, then give me your answers. How often do you do? It's just a numbers. Can be single digit, can be 2 digits. Okay. Wow. Who will answer this? All right. It's not keying the codes inside the questions. Okay. Okay. I think the first person to sound is keying 408250. Okay. It's not keying the codes. So some say 10, some say 4, some say 20, some say 3. Okay. So for example, for myself, I have another 20 years to go. Right? Am I going to change job? Okay, perhaps if yes, then maybe it's only 2 to 3 because I already spent my 10 years in Utah. Okay, if no, I will stay here. That means that how often do I change the job? It's 0. I only work for the rest of my time. Okay, so we can see 5. Okay, you can see 5. Most people are actually choosing 5. Some we have 3, we have 10, we have 15, 20. Wow, 20 jobs. 20 jobs for 40 years means that every 2 years you change the job. Wow. Okay. Okay, 5 means that you will change about 8 jobs. Okay, across the 40 years, right? We are mentioning from 20 years old until 60 years old. Okay, so it's 40 years old. Okay. So now we have about 34 respondents. How many participants we have? We have about hundreds. So for those just join in, please scan the QR code. Then try to contribute your answer. You can see the screen is the number is keep changing. Right? Some of you say 15, some of you say 12. No 12, sorry, 10. Okay, 5, 3. We have 100 participants here. Okay, how about the rest? So now only have 36 participants joining this survey. I believe that the 408250 is misunderstand the questions. Okay, that one is a code for the Slido. Okay, I think the top one answer is 5. Okay, then followed by 10, followed by 3. Then the third one will be 10s. Okay, so I try to search. I try to search Google search. How often the people change job during a lifetimes? In general, of course, I can't find the statistics surveys from within Malaysian markets. What I can find is from USA, from Australia, and also from Canada. Okay, so guess what? What is the answers? Okay, let's see. Back to the slide just now. Okay, so from your answer just now, the top one is 5, followed by 3, then followed by 10. Okay, so from the statistic that conducted by USA, Canada, and Australia is about 12 to 15. Okay, so to be precise, the USA and also Australia actually conducted the survey. The answer is actually 12. Then the Canada is actually 15. Okay, so what does these numbers indicate? Those actually guessing 10 is very close, right? Very close. Okay, it's very close to the 12. But of course, this one is in USA, Australia, and also Canada. It's more on Western countries. Okay, it's just for us as a reference. But what these numbers indicate? Okay, what does this tell us? So in fact, right, what does it tell us is, you can see if we assume just now we have 40 years of working lifetime. So you have changed 12 jobs. Okay, you have changed 12 jobs. Means that every single job actually is lasts about 3.3 years. 3.3 years. Okay, so the frequency to me is very frequent, right? Really very frequent. Every 3.3 years, then you have to change the job. Every 3.3 years, you have to change the job. Of course, when you're saying you are changing the job, can be the same industry or can be totally different industry. But when you're changing from one job to the other job, even within the same industry, do you think that, do you really upskills yourself, right? Upgrade yourself to be a better employee for the next company? Okay, or you are intend to change the industry. Are you ready for the industry changes, the job scope changes? Okay, so this is the numbers that quite surprising, that they 12 times, right, they change the job, right? So this one is an indicator how important the learning is there, right? How actually we can prepare ourselves for even for the next 3 years futures, right? So next, actually in 2004, right, in 2004, the Richard Rary already predicted in his book, okay? He already predicted in his book, The Jobs Revolutions, Changing How America Works, mentioning that the top 10 in demands job in the future does not exist today, okay? We are currently preparing students for the job that don't yet exist, using the technologies that haven't been invented in order to solve the problems that we don't even know what are the problems. Okay, this one, the Richard Rary already mentioned this about 17 years ago. 17 years ago. It's a very long time, 17 years ago. So means that what actually we are preparing ourselves, the job not even exists. Remember the 97 million jobs are waiting for you? Are you preparing for that? But we yet to know what other jobs are there, right? So what kind of technologies that we are referring? What are the things that we need to learn? And if you say problem solving is very important, but what are the problems that we are referring, right? We might not even know what are the problems. So it's very important that we have to know the learnings and we have to know why we need to learn. Okay, now you see there is a problems in front of you because the future, it seems like it's unpredictable. It seems like it's a bit of unknowns. Okay, but you think back what you have for the past 10 years, right? For the past 10 years, how actually you survived these past 10 years, right? I would like to share with you my kids' photos. Okay, why I need to bring out this? Here are my 3 kids. Okay, so I have my elder sons with the red shirt. Then I have my little pony, 7 years old. My elder son is 9 years old, and the youngest one, I always call him little monkey because it's same animal with me. I also monkey, so it's 5 years old. So I look at them actually. Every day I'm thinking, what actually you can see from the prediction just now, right? The problem yet to be exit, the technology yet to exist, and also what kind of job also don't know. So how actually I can prepare my kids for their futures, right? How do I prepare my kids for my future, for their futures? Before actually asking these questions, I also ask myself, are my parents prepare me for my futures? I look back for the past 20 years, okay? I believe that now everyone have these gadgets, right, with you. Without this, you feel like your heartbeat almost stopped. This is what I heard from my parents-in-law yesterday. Her handphone's battery has some problems, so we sent to the repair shop. About 2 days, she don't have the phones. Then when I overheard a conversation with her neighbors, he said that without the phone, my heartbeat seems like stopping the beats. Okay, you see how serious it is. So I'm thinking, this smartphone, do I know how to use it when I'm small? It's not yet exist. Okay, you know what is my first phone model? It's Siemens, S-I-E-M-E-N-S. I'm not sure how many of you here have heard about these brands. Of course, I think most of you also have Nokia, right? Maybe for around my age generations, you heard about Nokia, but now Nokia also almost disappears. But Siemens is very, very old phones. I got my first phone is at at my age of 20. Okay, this one is my first phone. at that time, we also don't know what is so-called the smartphone is. Okay? But I still can survive. Right? I can survive. How actually we can survive for the past 10 years? Because we have the attitude to learn. Right? We have a mindset to continue to learn. Okay? So I want to share with you, see this. How many of you actually know this? What cartoon or animes of this? How many of you? If you know, you can raise up your hands using the Zoom chat. Any one of you know this? Or give me some reactions. Any one of you know about this? You know what is this cartoon is or anime? To be honest, I don't know. Okay, to be honest, I don't know. Okay, some of you say no, some of you say yes. Okay, I think the yes one is really the new generations. Okay, yes, yes, no. Okay, so this one is called, you see the names here? It's called Among Us. Right? This is the called the Among Us. It's kind of the mobile games. Okay, it's a mobile game. Now it become a computer game also. Nintendo also start to have this game as well. Okay, so this is the drawing by my elder son. Okay, when I first saw it, I also asked, what is this Among Us? Okay, you can see actually the game is between the crewmate and also the imposters. Right? Imposter can change the colors, so you won't know he is the imposters. So the main missions of the crewmate is identify who is the imposter and keep him from the groups. Then what the imposter need to do is actually kill the crewmates. As long as the number of the imposters same as the number of crewmates, then the crewmate is lost. Okay, so this is kind of the games. So you can see that this is something that I have to learn from my sons. Right, learn from my kids. So the learning actually is not one way, but actually two ways. Okay, so perhaps with this quote, maybe give you a better picture. According to Alvin Toffels, one of the famous futurists, right, in his books Future Shock, the illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay, so this is the key parts about learning. You are not only have to learn, but you also need to unlearn and also relearn. Okay, right? I still remember, I think 2019, I have been invited to give a talk, share with among groups of secondary students during their holiday camps. Okay, so I also tell them about this learn, unlearn, and also relearn. Right? I told them, actually they are lucky because to them, they are like just a white paper, a sheet of white paper. It's still empty. Okay? Then they can fill up anything easily. They can learn anything easily. But at the age of myself, right, about 30 or 40, then we have so much so-called prior knowledge inside our brain, so much unconscious belief and also practice, okay, inside, right, in our blood. Then we have to unlearn it. What it means by unlearn? The unlearn here is referring about moving away from something. Let it go, okay? We have to unlearn it, we have to empty it so that we can fill up new knowledge, new skills. So this is what it means by the relearn. Okay, I believe that amongst the 100 participants here, most of you maybe are still students. You're also the same. You are still lucky. You still have capacities actually to learn and unlearn, because whatever you have accumulate maybe is not that much if compared to my age, right? So you still have capacity to unlearn, and also you can learn more new skills, right, to fill up your brains. Okay, so according to the Professor Christopher Didis of the Harvard Graduate School of Education, tell us that the meanings of unlearning here. The professional development for transformative change, right, is very challenging because the participants not only must learn a new skills, but also must unlearn almost unconscious belief, assumption, practices, values about the nature of teaching, learning, and schooling. Okay, so this is a difficulty that we face when we say we want to unlearn. Like for example, I give you examples of my personal experience. Okay, I think in my generations when we are small, we always been taught saying that, hey, you must eat fruits. Okay, any kind of fruits, banana, orange, apple after meal. Okay, so this is what we have been taught, right? Eat food after meals. But for the past 10 years, okay, there's a new school of thoughts saying that we must eat the fruits before the meals, right? The best is 30 minutes before the meals, so that for the better digestions. Okay, so this is totally, I need to unlearn so-called my habits of eating fruits after the meals. So to eat the fruits before the meals. Okay, so this is something that very difficult for us to actually, this is a big obstacle for us to unlearn it. But definitely we need to pick up the skills of unlearning, right? If not, there's a lot more of new skills, new knowledge in front of us. And there's 97 million jobs, new jobs waiting for us. Are we ready to that new jobs or not? All right? So if you really want to unlearn and learnings, okay, the question that I would like to ask next is, how many hours do we need to learn a new skills? Okay, so you go back to the Slido just now. All right, go back to the Slido just now. Now I will post the next questions. So how many hours do we need to learn a new skills? There are a few options over here. 10 hours, 20 hours, 100 hours, 1,000 hours, or 10,000 hours. Okay, you can scan again the QR code if you already remove from the QR code just now, or you can join the slido.com with the code of 408250. Okay, I saw 31% choosing 10 hours to learn a new skill. Very good. Very energetic. Okay, 14% or 13% choosing 10,000 hours. Wow. Okay, we have 10 hours, 20 hours, about 23%. All right, 100 hours. This one is a units of hours. Okay, units of hours. Okay, so about 35 participants have participated in the poll. So the most one is 20 hours. Okay, 31%, 20 hours. Right, so followed by 10 hours, 22%. Okay, 100 hours, also 22. 1,000 hours, okay, 19%. 10,000 hours, right? How many days actually 10,000 hours? It's a huge numbers, huh? Okay. There are more participants join in. Okay, good. Welcome. Because actually we have about 100 plus participants. Okay, please join into the pool so that we can see your perceptions. How many hours do you think that you need to learn? How many hours do you need, right, to learn the new skills? Okay, I think so. It's about 20, maybe it's 20, in between 20 to 100 hours. Okay, good enough, right? So there is no so-called answers. There is no so-called answers. Okay, but in the studies, right, there is a very famous rules. It's the 10,000 hours rules. Have you heard about this 10,000 hour rules? Does it take this long to master something? Where is this 10,000 hours rule come from? Why we have this 10,000 hours rules? Okay, so if we imagine, so if we spend about 8 hours per day, 5 days per week, okay, so it's about 40 hours per week. So we want 10,000 divided by 40 is about 10,000 divided by 40. 10,000 divided by 40 is about 250 weeks. Okay, 250 weeks. So it's about 4 years to 5 years times, right? 4 years to 5 years times. So means that we need to spend every, except weekend, just now I say 5 days a week, right? 8 hours, just like a working. You about 5 years or 4 years, only you can master the things. Where this 10,000, I'm not sure how many of you heard about this 10,000 hour rules. Okay, so actually this one, this so-called the 10,000 rules, is actually come from this Malcolm Gladwell's, the author of the Outlier, the story to success. Okay, the story of success. So he is the one actually to popularize the ideas that it requires 10,000 hours of concentrated practice in order to process what is considered world-class skills in something. World-class, okay, we are not mentioning only knowing the skills, right? Learning a skill. According to Malcolm's, is if you spend concentrated 10,000 hours on the skills, you can achieve a world-class levels. Because he's doing some study on the chess grandmaster, the Western chess, international chess grandmaster. He also then doing some study on the hockey player, and also he's doing some study on the Bill Gates. Okay, he found that 10,000 hours is a reasonable. Okay, it's a reasonable hours if you want to master it, master the skills at a world-class levels. Okay, world-class levels. But how many of us actually, when you want to learn a new skill, is actually to have a very such high target, saying that I want to be the world-class, or we just not want to pick up a skills. Okay, if we really want to pick up a skills, how many hours do we need? Okay, so according to George Kaufman, in his TED Talks, just 20 hours good enough. I think just now, I think about 30% of you getting it right. 20 hours is good enough. Okay, 20 hours is good enough to actually pick up a skills. Okay, a skills, not, of course, not at the world-class levels, but at least you feel comfortable, right, to saying that you know that particular skills. 20 hours, just good enough. The George Kaufman in his TED Talks, right? He's one of the also another speakers in the TED Talks. Okay, perhaps yeah, you'll notice that actually I watch a lot of TED Talks, right? TED, right? The TED Talks. If you have time, actually you can maybe spend about 15 to 20 minutes, but because for each TED Talks videos is about 15 to 20 minutes. It's very informative and very inspiring. Okay, so I learned from this 20 hours from George Kaufman. He also demonstrate at the end at his talks how actually to play the ukulele. Okay, so according to him, there is 4 steps, very important 4 steps to learn within these 20 hours. First, we need to deconstruct the skills into sub-skills. Right? You want to break down the missions. Okay, you want to break down the task, become a sub-task. Okay, so when you break it down, of course, you feel easier to achieve it. After you achieve one very small visions, then you feel motivated to move forward. Okay, if you straight away go to say, I want to target to climb the Mount Everest, wow, there's a big, long journey to go to practice it, just like what we mentioned just now, 10,000 hours. But what if I just want to climb a Bukit Mandela, okay, or Bukit Tahan? Right? Maybe you start from small, break out your skills into sub-skills, then learn enough to self-collect, right? Learn enough to self-collect. We ever heard that practice make perfect, practice make perfect, okay? But actually, I would like to add 2 more words in this phrase. Practice with feedback make perfect, okay? Practice with feedback make perfect. If we are still practicing without the self-corrections, right, we're still using the wrong practice, wrong skills to doing something wrong, then the practice itself will not make it perfect. But if you practice with feedback, so maybe you can notice that is something wrong with that, then you change a little bit, then you modify a little bit, rectify a little bit, then you will become better and better. So you have to learn enough to self-correct. Remove the barriers, step 3. Okay, what it means by remove the barrier? Put away your phone, turn off your TV, right? turn off your computer games, right? Don't let all these distractions to distract you. You have to be focused, okay? You have to be focused to practice, okay? So that 20 hours is crucial. These 20 hours, you really need to spend 100% focus, right? You need to spend 100% focus. Then lastly, of course, practice the most important soft skills. What it means by most important soft skill? Just like what George Kaufman shared in his talks, he learned to play ukulele. According to him, the chords, right? The chords of the ukulele is about 100 plus. But within 20 hours, it's impossible for him to really learn out all these chords. So he also observed some things. There's some important chords that occurs or appears almost in every song, 4 to 5 chords. So he think, maybe I just need to learn these 4 to 5 chords so that I can play a song already, right? So he focused on these important sub skills, 4 to 5 chords. Then he practice until he can master it within the 20 hours. Then after that, you can play the songs because you can identify what are the important ones. Of course, you are not saying that we want to really spend the 10,000 hours to achieve the world-class levels, right? So it's very important, the learning, right? Before you learn, then you need to know why you need to learn, okay? So the learning is always a lifelong learning. This one, I think, is we heard these terms a lot of times already. So another terms or another school of terminology to reflect this lifelong learning is what we call the growth mindset. The growth mindset. So the growth mindset, what does it mean by this growth mindset? In the growth mindset, okay, of course, in the opposite, what we call as a fixed mindset. I give you an example. What does this mean? We have a letter of N put together with a letter of O. What does it mean? Can someone actually put in the meeting chats? What does it mean? N and O. When we say N and O together, what does it mean? Tabule, okay? Tabule. Okay? Tabule, right? N-O, no means no. But is it any interpretation of this N and O? Perhaps you can interpret it as, okay, you can interpret it as next opportunity. Okay? So this is the difference between the fixed mindset and also the growth mindset. NO, it could be the next opportunity. So let's see some of the difference between the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. So the growth mindset person will not see the problem, but he will see the opportunity. Right? Will not see the problem, but he will see the opportunity. He will not jealous, but he will admire. Okay, he will not jealous, but admire. Because jealous is very negative. Okay, jealous, you put the blame on people. When you admire, you look up at the people and you try to behave like that. Okay, and also you will not think it's difficulty, but you will think this one could be the lesson for me to move to next levels. Okay, there's always no say too hard, but it's really worth for my time, for my efforts. Okay, and also we will treat every single so-called criticism as a feedback. Just now we did mention, practice with feedback make perfect, right? So we need to know how to find out the problem. Okay, instead of saying I don't know. Okay, why not you say yes, I can. So this is a growth mindset that you want to continue to build out your brains to continue to grow, right? So back to the question that we want to ask just now. Why do we need to learn? Okay, I would like to share with you these stories. Story of the 3 brick layers. Yeah, I'm not sure how many of you actually heard about it. It's a very short video clips from the YouTubes. Okay, so less than a minute. Let me share this. Let me make a full screen. I hope the audios and the visual is perfect from your side.
A man saw 3 bricklayers working side by side. He walked up to the first bricklayer and asked, "What are you doing?" "I'm laying bricks," the first bricklayer said. The man then walked up to the second bricklayer and asked the same question. "I'm putting up a wall," was the reply. The man then asked the question to the third bricklayer. "What are you doing?" The third man said enthusiastically and with pride, "I'm building a beautiful cathedral."
Okay, it's very short video clips. So you can see the difference between the 3 bricks layers, right? Their answer. They're actually doing the same job, okay? Exactly the same job. But their answer are totally different. The first one answer that I putting up the bricks. The second one is saying that I'm building a wall. But the third one is saying that I'm building a cathedral, the church, the beautiful church. You can see their visions, the attitude. Okay, they see the third one actually can see the overall pictures, the end results. Okay, they will see the end result. When you know what is your why, then you will know whatever you are doing now is actually worth for it. Okay, whatever difficulty you face now is actually it's just a lesson for you to move forwards because you already know what is your end results. Okay, so we always say that begin with the end in mind. This is one of the famous second habits, right? In the 7 habits of highly effective people by the Stephen Covey. Okay, so always begin with the end in mind because we need to know what is our end result. When you see your end result, you knowing your why, then actually you can know how to move forwards. Okay, and also of course this one will motivate you to continue to move, right? So I would like to share you another tech talks, right, by the Daniel Pink, right? The puzzle of the motivations. What actually he shared during the talks is, okay, before I go into details, let me share with you this. Can you see this is the candle problems, right? So this is a psychological experiment created by the Kaufman in 1935. Okay, so what is the problem want to solve? Maybe some of you, if you know the answer, please put in the chat. Right? Let me know how do you solve the problem. Okay, the question now is, you need to attach the candles. Can you see the candles on the tables, right? You need to attach the candles on the wall, okay, or towards the wall. Then after that, you have to ensure that the wax will not drip on the wall or on the tables. The wax will not drip on the tables. Do you think easy? Okay, you are given the candles, a pack of matches, and also a box of the thumbstick. Okay, so you are giving a 3 so-called apparatus here. So how actually we can attach the candles onto the wall without let the wax dripping on the tables? Any ideas? Okay, so what this Carl Duncan do is he gathered 2 groups of people. Okay, the first group, he tells the first group saying that you go to try. Okay, doesn't matter, you take your times, then later on I will average out the whole groups of the times, how much time that you need to solve the problems. For the second group, he tells differently. He say, try to solve the problems as fast as possible. If you manage to beat the first group, I will reward you. Okay, on top of that, I also will give who actually can solve the problem fastest, okay, among yourself, another additional $50. Guess what? First group faster or the second group is faster? Anyone can guess? In the meeting chat, 1 or 2? The group 1 without any incentive, the group 2 with incentive or rewards. Yes, good. I think most of you really in a business mindset already. Very good. Okay. Because according to the business studies, the higher the incentive, the faster the job can be done, right? But guess what? It's totally opposite. What the Carl Ducker found out is the second group is take 3 minutes longer than the first group. They take 3 minutes longer than the first group. Why? Okay, why? The question is why, right? Why when you have incentive, then you become slower. Okay, so this is the so-called mismatch between the size and also between the size and the business. If you are in the business world, we always think that with a higher incentive, the more efficient the work can be done. Okay, well, I'm not sure whether you have solved the problem or not. Let me share you the answer. Okay, you can see this is how actually you can solve the problems. You remove all the thumbtacks from the box, then you use you can see, use the thumbtacks to attach the box on the wall, then you put the candle inside the box, then the wax will not drip on the tables. Okay, so what actually it tells us? Okay, before I explain what actually it tells us, let's go to the second experiment. Right, the second experiment, exactly the same things, right, same materials, but this now you can see, now it's giving the same materials. You have one candles, right, a box of the thumbtack, but actually removed from the box, and a packs of the matches. You tell the first group the same, take your time. Second group, as fast as possible so that I can give you rewards. So now, in the second trial, which one you think who will win? The first group or the second group? Any wild guess? Now, it's exactly the same questions, but the difference is now the thumbtack is removed from the box. Okay? The first group without this incentive, the second group with the incentive. Yes, I think you still will guess the second one, right? Yes. Okay. Humans, you are absolutely right, because the answer is so obvious. Okay. So what is the difference between the first child and also the second child? So what you can see here is comparison between the routines and also the non-routines. The routines one is so obvious, the answer is in front of you. Because according to the science studies, okay, when you are given incentive, your staff or your employees will narrow down the solutions. They will not open up to see any creative solutions. So if they are given the non-routines problems, they're not able to solve it because they cannot see the obvious answers. But if you are given the first task with the routine works, with the incentive, then you can make the works become more efficient. It works. But what did we say just now? Okay, for about 30 minutes ago. What are the future jobs waiting for us? Is it a routine job or non-routine jobs? So this one, in this, during his sharing on talks, the Daniel Pink's mentioning comparison between the external motivator and also the internal motivator. So the external motivator is work with the external incentive is work perfectly in the business world if the job have a very straightforward solutions. But what if there is no so-called one fixed solutions? Okay, the incentive will not work because the incentive will make your employers and yourself will only think very narrow. So most importantly is we need to have the internal motivations. Okay, it's just like an egg. If an egg is broken by external force or outside force, right, the life ends. This statement actually I'm not really 100% agree because if I broke the eggs from outside, I can fry it, then I can eat. It sustain my life, right? So the life actually is continued. Okay, but I totally agree with the second one. If the broken by inside force, the life begins. Okay, so the internal motivation is very, very important. The internal motivation is very important. So you see, from from the beginning until now, we are still talking about why do we need to learn. Right? Why we need to, you need to find out your why first. Right? Before, it's not because of the money, it's not because of the reputations, right? It's not because of your success, right? But it's why you need to, you think of why do you need to learn, right? Why do you need to learn? So some of you maybe they think of because I want to be a success, right? I want success. So how do you define success? Well, I'll give you a simple 6 aspects that you can think of, right? Which one is your highest priority? For example, a success person maybe have a good health, healthy body, and definitely this one is very important. Without a healthy body, you can't do anything, right? So with a lovely family, okay, you need to support your family, right? This is another success factors. And your career, your success in your career, yes, possible. This perhaps is your why as well. And your dream, okay, you make your dreams, right? For example, your dream is you want to travel the whole world, okay, without worrying about the monies, okay, this is your dreams. And the wealth, maybe you want to accumulate enough wealth, okay, to return back, right, to support back your parents, okay, support back your siblings, your families, and also back to society, right? You want to contribute back to the society. So when you think of the success, maybe you can think from these 6 simple aspects. Okay, if you have a bigger visions, you even can look at the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, the Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 of them. Okay, and those SDG actually started since 2015. Already, they hope that can achieve by 2030. Right, so it's about 6 years past already. So we left about 9 years. So how many of you actually can help to contribute to this SDG? Right? Do you think that the reason that you want to learn is because you want to help the world to achieve no poverty, zero hunger, have a gender equality, okay, to help out the life below the water and the life on land? Okay, you just pick one of them, make it become your why. So the why here is very important, that you start off, then you know how to actually go forward. Okay, so for this first sections, you need to find your why. All right, so now the next question is, how do we learn? Right, after you are knowing your why, okay, after you're knowing your why, then the next question is how actually we learn. How do we learn? Okay, look at these pictures, these 2 pictures. On the left hand side is about few hundred years ago, the classroom pictures. Okay, on the right hand side, can you see any difference? Is the most recent one of the classroom that we can snapshot. Can you see any difference between these 2 pictures? Right? Can you see any difference between these 2 pictures? Our phones have been changed, okay, from the dialing phones, right, change to smartphones. Our transport, okay, change from the horse carriage to become a manless, the unmanned vehicles. Okay, there's so much changes in terms of the technologies. How about our classroom? Okay, so it's really time to change, right? Time to change. So now learning is no longer so only one solution. It's no longer only one solution. There are always have various kind of the channels to learn. Okay, so just now we mentioned, when you know what is your why to learn, you decide your destinations. Then after you decide your destination, now you need to decide what is your mode of transportations. Okay, so the mode of transportation can be by coach, by ship, by cruise, or by airplane, right? Okay, so same thing for the learning. You can go through formal educations, informal educations, and also so-called non-formal education. So what does this 3 means? Formal, informal, and non-formal. Okay, so I searched from this passionseducations.com. I found this so-called a brief definition of these 3, comparison between these 3, formal, informal, and also non-formal educations. So the formal one is what actually we are going through, right? From the kindergartens with the school, We have the hierarchy structures. We have the teacher. We have the principals. We have the lecturers. Okay. Then we have uniform. Okay, we have uniform. Of course, in the tertiary education, institution doesn't have. We have the full-time lecturers, subject-oriented. All right, it's the subject one by one. Okay, we have to complete all this. Only we can get our degree or certificate. So this is the formal education. Usually within a very restricted time span. Okay. So in contrast, when we mention about the informal educations, it's kind of the adult learning. Okay, it's more practical. You learn it because you want to learn it. Diversity in methods on contents can be any ways. Okay, like now it's very popular, the MOOCs, the massive on open and online courses. Okay, you can learn it from your friends, okay, from your parents. So there's various kinds of the learning channels. So it's mobilized local resources, built on the learner participation. Because you really want to learn it out. It's not something like spoon feeding that put in front of you, ask you to eat. Okay, it's a real life example of learnings. So non-formal education can be defined as a very long process, learning from experience, from home, from environment, from work. Right? This is considered the non-formal education. So with this, you can notice that the formal education is not the only way to learn. Okay, we already like to break the walls of the schools, break the barriers, right, from the schools. Okay, so we need to be more open-minded, and we need to be more open-hearted also to see what are the channels that we can learn. I have attended a flexible education seminar in 2019, and there's one key speaker, Professor Dr. Asma Ismail, the Vice Chancellor of USM. He shared about his visions. Okay, he also have these terms, imagining the education system, right? And he defined what it means by imagining the education system. So the definition of this is imagine what the learning would look like, and also engineer to make it happen. Right? The engineer here is a verbs, it's not the nouns. Engineer to make it happen. So the question here, right, in order to imagining the education system, is how might we prepare learners of the futures? Okay, so remember just now the Richard already mentions, we not even know what are the jobs in futures. We also don't know what is the problem in futures. We also don't know what kind of technologies in futures. How actually we prepare for them. Okay, so Professor Dr. Asma also mentioning about currently the values of degrees. Okay, the values of degree. You can see from here, with the advance of globalization and also the global economic crisis, the employers want industry-ready graduates. So for those current students, right, from Utah or from any other institutions, are you really industry ready? Okay, maybe you have half a month or half a year to go before you graduate. Maybe we have two more years to go before you graduate. Are you ready for the new jobs, the 97 million jobs for you? Okay, today the industry actually hire the graduates with competencies and skills rather than the graduate with a degree, even from an elite university. So more focus on the competency. Okay, so there is a trend that accept non-degree credentials and provide the certificate that show the learning ability. Okay, so it's more concentrating on the competency and the skills. So that's why the overall higher education, not only higher education, but even the secondary, primary, and the kindergarten, we need to change, right, to adopt this. So you can see that now companies just want to know you can create more values than you take up in the salaries. And there is a reported by Financial Times, the Big Four, right? For those in the accounting industry, you know what are the Big Four. They look beyond academics, okay? No longer only focus on the certificates. Besides that, we have this rise of the non-traditional students. Okay, there is a new marketplace for us to think about this, right? What you mean by non-traditional students? Because they're not able to join the formal educations. Okay, why they cannot join? Maybe they cannot afford the 4 years. They don't have money, the cost. They don't have the time because they need to work to support their families. Right? They want to learn at their own times. So there are 4 major obstacles for them to join in any formal education. Of course, as I mentioned just now, the time, the cost as well, and the distance, because they might not able to travel, right? They might not able to travel to, for example, if you are from a bit urban areas, they might not able to travel to the city areas to actually to learn, or you want to travel to the overseas to learn something, okay? And the last one is actually the boredoms. Why boredoms? It's because in a formal education, usually, is regardless of whether you are good or bad students, you have to follow exactly the same practice with others. So imagine if you were the excellent student, you might feel bored because this is something that you don't want. Not you already know, right? But you hope that you can have it faster. But if you are the another extremes, you don't know anything, but the lecturer or the teacher is still going on, so you feel left behind. Okay, so this is the 4 major obstacles for the formal educations. So that's why in open learning, okay, so actually this slide adopted from the open learning slide, they introduced this MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses, right? We've overcome all these 4 major obstacles now. It's online and blended, so you doesn't need to concern about the distance. It's connected and constructive because you can use your own pace to learn. Okay, you overcome the boredoms. Then the cost, when you are learning, there's a lot of free modules to learn, but only you need to pay when you want to get the certificates. Okay, and the times is also on your own pace. Okay, so there are a lot of platforms, right, including Utah. Utah, we also have this new inspired learnings. There's a lot of currently about 10 to 12 courses available for you to learn out. Okay, of course, besides Utah, open learning, Khan Academic, Coursera, Microsoft, EDX, MIT Open Course Bank. There's a lot more platform that we can learn. Okay, so the learning, right, is have a various channels. This is the how. Right, with this you can see what is actually the Malaysian national blueprints in the education. You'll notice that the number 9 is a globalized online learning. Okay, so you want to increase the opportunity for our Malaysians to actually to learn. Okay, and also with this holistic entrepreneur and balanced graduates. So this is the blueprints. This is our target. Will be end by 2025. Also very soon. Okay, very soon. So during in the flexible education seminar, Professor Dr. Asma also shared with this overall pictures of what it means by flexible educations. So you can think of these 6 factors in terms of the access, mean the admissions, right? So now we have this APEL-C, APEL, APEL, okay, it means accredited prior experiential learning, APEL. So access means you, without the formal certificate of, like for example, SPM or SDPM, you still can be go to the formal education to learn out, right? So you have this advanced standing, the APEL-C, okay, the accreditation of prior experiential learning for course levels. This one APEL-A, the other one is APEL-C, the course levels, okay? So you can claim, even in Utah, we also have this APEL-C. If you think that the courses that you are going to learn in the next trimester or in the next few trimesters, you, based on your past experience, based on your prior experiential learning, maybe you are through YouTube or you have joined in any mock courses, then you, based on the course learning outcome, you already know, this one, no issue. I think I can achieve this even without attending the class. Then you can go to apply, okay? You can apply up to 30% of your credits. Then you save times, okay? And save some costs, right? You save some costs to attending the full 14 weeks of trimester of the courses, okay? So Utah is available for this APEL-C as well. So we also have the MOOCs, okay? We have e-learning, right? We have this, we are going to have this open and distance learning for postgraduate program. We also have this micro-credentials, okay? The digital badges. In Utah, we also have the blockchain as well, certificates. So here are some Malaysian qualification agency. provided some guideline for all the higher education institutions to refer how actually to do the credit transfer for the mock courses, how actually for the FLC and also the FLA, as I mentioned just now, for the access. And now the latest one is the FLQ. FLQ is a qualification. So means that even without, right, as long as you have been assessed rigorously, right, without go through the 4 years or 3 years of the studies, you still can be qualified for a certain degree. Okay, so this is the latest one, the FLQ. Right? So beside this, right, we back to the fundamentals. Right? We back to the fundamentals. The fundamental is we learn when we really start to learn at our age of maybe 5 or 6 as a formal educations. Okay, so even now, okay, recently I have a chance to actually to be involved in have a chance to explore this KAP, the Khusus Asuhan and Didikan Awal Kanak-kanak. Then even with this, they also have actually start to use this 3E learning to teach the kindergartens or even teach the TASCA. Okay, kids below 4 years old, they already start to have this experiment, experiments and also explore. They really want them to participate, to be the active learner. Okay, so this 3E is one of the concept, is very important concept in educating the children, right, even below 4 years old, right? Explore, experience, and also experiment. It's not reading textbooks, right? It's not sitting in the classroom. By nature walks, by the explosions, okay, by playing the sand play, there's a lot of toys and also nature things that can be further explored, okay? And also they have this so-called scientific method, right, with toddlers. They already start to have this, teach them how to observe, how to questions, okay? Asking question is very important. When you're asking question, it means that your brain actually is functioning. Actually, is you try to communicate with the outside world, either human to with humans or human with nature. Okay, then you create your own hypothesis and doing some experiments. Okay, then of course you do some analysis, data collects, and the end you make the conclusions whether what your hypothesis is correct or not. Okay, so even at the kindergarten, kids already start to have this kind of more active learning methods to teach and to learn. So beside individually, I think one of the important skills is also to learn how to collaborate with others. So one of the pedagogy here is the paragogy. Okay, so it means the peer-oriented learnings, right? How actually you can work together as a team. I'm not sure about how many of you not hearing this tortoise and hare stories. Huh? I think this one is maybe one of your childhood stories, right? The tortoise and the hare. I know some of you have heard about the part 1. Maybe some of you have heard about the part 2, part 3, and part 4. Actually, there are a total of 4 parts. So the part 1, actually, of course, we know that tortoise is a winner because the hare actually is overconfident. So he take a nap, so he lost. So the hare actually challenged the tortoise again for the second round, right? He said, this time I will not sleep anymore. I will not take a nap anymore. So this round, for the second round of competitions, for the race, the hare definitely win the race, okay? Then, but the tortoise say, why not we have the third one? But this time, I have to decide where is our destinations. You know where the tortoise choose? He choose a place opposite the river. So although at the beginning, the hare is very fast, as usual, as in the second round, but when he reached to the rivers, he cannot cross the rivers because there is no bridge. So although the tortoise is slow, but he can swim. Slowly he can swim across the river, then he will become the winners. Then the hare say, cannot, I need to have the third, fourth round, okay? So this round, what they do is, they, instead of compete with each other, they collaborate. Okay, on the land, the hare actually carry the tortoise run together. When they reach to the rivers, then the tortoise carry the hare across the rivers. So with this, at the last round, they achieve the faster time to complete the race. So this is very important here, the collaborations, right? So how actually you can collaborate with your teams, with your peers, okay? This one is also part of the learning process, okay? This is also part of the learning process. Okay, lastly, what actually do we need to learn? Okay, what actually do we need to learn? What skill do you think is important for the futures? All right, maybe I can show you what the WEF shown us, the top 15 skills for 2025. Okay, top 15 skills for the 2025. Okay, so the first one is analytical thinking and innovations. Okay, the active learnings, right? Remember the active learning, you need to be proactive, right, in learnings, and also the learning strategies, complex problem solving, right? This one is as often critical thinking and analysis, right? Then we have creativity, or originality, and the initiative, leadership, and also the social influence. That's number 7. Technology use, right? Monitoring and control. Number 8, technology design and programming. Number 9, resilience, stress, tolerance, and flexibility. This one is very important. This one is more on self-management. Okay, this is related to what we have mentioned just now, the growth mindset. Okay, how actually you can see the problem is an opportunity. The NO is the next opportunity. All right, the reasoning the problem, all right, solving, and also the ideations, emotional intelligence, troubleshooting, and also the user experience, service orientations, system analysis and evaluation, persuasions, and also negotiations. Okay, so these all the skills that are important for the 2025. Then, so when we say as a human being, we need to be holistic. What it means by holistic developments. So with our body parts, we understand that we have our brains, we have our hands, our legs, and also we have our feelings. Okay, so it's not only on the competency and the skills itself, more on the cognitive and also psychomotor, but also it's very important that you need to learn out how to build your attitude. Okay, this is to show your professionalism and your ethics. This is the important facts. Okay, this is a very important to have a holistic developments. Right? You can have very competency, but you doesn't have the ethics, you are nothing. Okay, you are nothing. So the last thing that the last book I wanted to share with you is The Flow. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about these books. The flow is a kind of the situation that you will feel, right? When you really in the flow, means that you won't feel the times actually passing by. Okay, when you are in the situations of the flow, you will feel that the timelessness. Okay, it's just like we always feel that when you feel happy, the time go faster. When you are bored, you are sad, then you think that the time actually is go slower. It's relative, right? It depends on your emotion. So when you're in the flow, you will think everything will be automatic. Okay, you also will stay focused and you will feel the happiness. How actually we can achieve the flow, right? You have to ensure that your challenge levels and your skill levels is actually correlate to each other. For example, if your challenge level is too low and your skill level is too low, then it's nothing excitement, right? Empathy. If your skill level is high, but the challenge level is too low, then you are more on the relaxations. Okay. In contrast, when the challenge level is too high compared to the skill level, then you have anxiety. So the best is the flow. Right? When your challenge levels and your skill level is up to date. So how do we know, right? Our skill level is really compatible with the challenge level. So there's a tips here. Okay. So you need to you have to stay focused, right? You have to feel the freedoms. Right? Means that you are not restricted to do any other jobs at that time, and you need to get a constructive feedback. And the challenge that you want is about, there's a rules of thumb here is 4%. Okay, Too high the challenge or too low the challenge. If too high, you will create anxiety. Too low, you will create relaxations. Right? So the second last slide that I want to share with you is about the story in the Africas. A gazelles wake up every morning in the Africas. It knows that he must run faster than the faster lion or he will be killed. Okay? Because gazelle have to run, because else he will be killed by the lions. How about the lions? Every morning the lions wake up, he also need to run. He knows that he must overrun the slowest gazelles or he will starve to death. Okay, so regardless you are a gazelle or you are the lions, you every morning you wake up, every time the sun come up, you better start running. Okay, so of course the running here is referring to the learning. Right? Regardless of which stage are you in your life, you still need to continue to learn. Okay, so lastly, I want to share saying that just now we mentioned about competencies. We also mentioned about the ethics and also persons. It's not easy. The ethics and person usually is under the hidden curriculum is under, but this is the fundamental that we have as a person. Okay, it takes 10 years to grow a tree, but it takes 100 years to nurture a person. So it's not beside the cognitive skills, the competency as well. That one is more on survival, but it's more importantly is your ethics and also your personals. Okay, so this is my last slide, but of course it's not over because our future is still waiting for us. Okay, thank you very much for your attention for this about 80 minutes over here. So now I open to the floor for any Q&A. So do you have any questions that you can post in the meeting chat? Or else actually I can refer to some of the questions that some of you actually have posted during your registrations. Okay, so just one of the questions is asking about, as education reform does not happen overnight, if you could suggest any small, do a little each day habits to introduce to infants, right? Infants, what skills or events would there be? Okay, so as I mentioned just now, right, the growth mindset is very important. The learn, unlearn, and also the relearn. As long as you're still very open-minded and open-hearted to accept any new knowledge, new skills, new challenge, I think no matter how the challenge, how the future will become, you are in the right tracks. Okay, you are in the right tracks. I think some of the question I think is posted by students, right? The existing student now, right? For example, if the result of the professional course is not that good, is it better to change it to other course? Okay, how do we know that the currently our bachelor degree is suitable for ourselves? It actually doesn't matter. Okay, as it doesn't matter. You can see that there is a purpose why we have these formal educations, right? Not only because of the certificates, because it's the platform that we learn. Of course, we learn the basic knowledge, the cognitive part. At the same time, we have chance, right? We have a community, the learning together. Right? You compare to the online learning, when we go for the formal education, there is a community to learn out together. Remember just how I shared the story of the tortoise and the hare? The collaborations, the peer learnings is very important. Right? So the collaboration with your teammates, with your future friends is particularly important for your future careers. Okay? As long as you keep going to learn, whether or not, right? For example, to be honest, although I'm serving in engineering faculty, but I'm not an engineer. My first degree actually applied physics. Okay, then I go for my master in the coursework form mode in the manufacturing engineering. Then my PhD is on the materials engineering. Right, I'm studying my PhD title is about semiconductors. Okay, you can see I'm keep changing until my old friends actually confused what actually I'm studying and what actually my field is. Right, you can see there is a diversity. Your first degree is build out your foundations, but it doesn't stop you to continue to build your knowledge and your skills. right? As long as you are continue to learn, right, from inside out, not the outside in, not because of the external factors, but it's because you want to learn, because you know your why and you want to continue to learn. All right. So I think another question is, what are the most crucial future skills that requires within the industry, education, country quality assurance, government sectors of the post-pandemic? I think regardless of what situation we are in, right, the information that I shared just now is still valid, whether with or without pandemics. Right? The learning, the continue to learn is always valid. Okay. So I think there's one last question over here. Is regarding to the early childhood. It's quite a long question. How the benefit learning in higher education being applied in the difficulty of finding job, especially COVID-19 pandemic periods. Then follow the early childhood education future in learning of how to find out the light in the tunnel for the benefit of learning, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic time in the world. I think actually, to me personally, I do think that, of course, I'm not saying I'm not be grateful because of pandemics, but I do think on the another side of the pandemics, I see the opportunity, I see the chances, okay, the chances, and also the opportunity that we can earn, right? With this kind of situations, everyone now become online, right? If you really want to transform from a physical classroom to become an online teaching and learning, I think with a normal institutions, maybe you need to take 3 to 5 years. But you can see within less than 24 months, right? We have completed almost three trimesters, right? To using our online teaching and learning skills. Okay, you like it or not like it, you're already inside in these new norms, right? This new norm, will it be continue as it is? Perhaps yes, but I think will be more things happens in the next half of the years. Okay, when the situation will become better. Okay, because of this COVID-19, I think it will become better. But it's a good chance for us to learn. And what actually we are lacking of, I think it still really have the hopes for us to continue to innovate our formal educations, incorporate together with the informal education, and also with our non-formal education, because learning is not by single channels. Okay, I think with this, I would like to end my sharing. Okay, it's just in time, 5:30. You are welcome to email me if you have any questions. Okay, so my email is, I can put inside the meeting chat. Okay, we can have more dialogue. If you want to know about the learnings, and we can learn together, because I still have a lot of things to learn, especially for my kids. Okay, first thing I learned is the Among Us and also imposters. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for all of your attention. Thank you. Spend your 90 minutes with me. I know some of you may be very busy. Okay, and busy your class, right, your teaching. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope that I wish all of you keep yourself safety and stay safe. Right. Remember, one of the success factors is the health and your families. Right. To me, these two are the most important things. Thank you very much.